Well, we have a mayfly that just landed on my head, and that wasn't really the way I thought I was going to start this video. Anyway, today we're going to give the July Monster Bass Box a shot. So we got quite a few different types of things here, and basically what this is saying to me is Monster Bass had no idea what to do here in New Jersey for fishing, and the reason I say that is they've gone right from top water and then they went right down to a jig. So we're gonna give a couple of these a opportunity to fish in this area here. Here's where we're fishing today. It's a nice spot here. I caught a real nice bass here before. Nice 4-pounder. So in the July box, we've got quite a few different water level baits here, starting out with a pencil bait, going into a chatterbait, which is going to be kind of mid-water. We have a crankbait here, not quite a square bill, but that's going to be about a medium diver. And then they got a deep diving Rapala, and then they went right down to the jig. So they are all over the place as far as water depths go. But this is the July Monster Bass Box, and we also got some plastics here. You got us some black and blue, basically kind of a craw looking bait, and this is a secondary craw. This one is a green pumpkin, so good colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie on a swivel just for the effort of time to be able to kind of test out all these different baits that came in the July box. I'm going to be using a St. Croix Victory with a Daiwa bait casting reel. And let's tie on and start casting. Okay, so my thoughts here were to start on the top and work our way down. So we're going to start ourselves with this walking bait first, and this is a Yozuri. Got nice hooks, I'll tell you that. So as I said, we're just using a swivel just to get these things on fast and get some things happening here, so we can kind of get a look-see of the baits that we got in the July Monster Bass Box. Okay, so this is our first bait here, and this is the pencil weight. Got a nice cast. So this is a nice walking bait. It moves nice. I've never really been good with walking baits. I still haven't perfected the... I feel like I'd be better if I was using a different hand here. I don't know. Some people are very good at these. I've seen people really get these walking. You know, not me. Nice casting. It casts really nice. Got some good weight to it. Okay, we got a break in water over there, so that's always a good sign. Very nice movement. So I figured I'd give each of these guys about 4 or 5 casts just to see what kind of movement they give us. Well, I like the movement of it. I like the color. We just had another jump over there, so let's get after where we saw this jump. Oh, we got another jump over here. Guys, we got lots of jumps. Let's see if we can make something happen here. Big jumps. Big jumps, both spots here. And this is shallow. Really super shallow. And we got some bluegill swimming in here. Big bluegill. Could have simply been a big bluegill flipping around. We got a bass coming up, checking them out. Okay, we got a bass hanging out right here. Probably running this bait a little more than I thought I was gonna, but when you see fish, it certainly makes you excited. I don't know if we're gonna get them top water or not. here comes another couple bass, real small guys, kind of just coming in and checking things out here. Okay, no catches for this guy. One more cast. Boy, I let my friend use my rod and reel one time, and every time he uses it, he makes some adjustments on it that just make the thing turn into a new rod. As I said, very happy with the movements. We got a couple fish right there. Didn't seem to make them excited enough to come get us, and we got lots of bass laying right in this area here. I can't put it down because I see so many bass. Okay, so that was this bait. Very nice looking bait. This is a Yozuri. They make a lot of lines that I get too, so I think they're a good brand. The hooks are definitely super sharp. So let's get this guy switched over and make our way to the next bait. Okay, so this is our crankbait. It seems like a fairly shallow diver, so I'm gonna start off with him. And I'm not a super, I don't know, I'm not super excited about this bait, but I could be wrong, so I'll give it an opportunity. We'll throw it and see what happens. So this is a monster bass, and it is a green crankbait with a little feather back end here. So let's give it a shot. Got a fairly nice cast. So the monster bass boxes are supposedly specific to your area. So yes, so I'm in New Jersey, and yeah, we're just gonna give it a shot. Hey, you never know. They're so, you know, supposed to be specific, but every area is a little different. Get another nice casting lure. No, you're not really getting to see much here. You're probably going to get to see it get tangled up. So I'm letting it rise. Oh, we did get a little hit. We did get a little hit here. We had a bass get a little interested in it. So I think I'm going to let this do a little more rising up. So far, it's the only thing we had real super interested in. And let this guy come up. What do you know? Very smooth through the water. I've run a couple of these crankbaits before, and they're just jerky, very like smacky, crashy. This is very smooth, almost like, I'll have to take a look. I'm not even sure if it has. I'll have to take a look. No rattles. There are no rattles in this particular crankbait that they sent. Very strange. Usually I'm so used to rattles and being in them. That's why it's so quiet. But it did attract the attention of one of the bass here lying close here. So that's cool. Yeah, I couldn't figure out when I first started casting this particular lure why it was so quiet. And the reason being is no rattles in this particular one. So you're not going to be calling them in with any sound on this particular guy, but it's definitely doing some movement. I can feel it moving, but not very loud. Not a very loud bait. As I said, nice casting bait. Getting decent casts on it. It's probably diving in about maybe 4 to 6 feet. I seem to let it go. It comes up pretty quick, so maybe 6 feet, maybe 7. But he comes up pretty quickly. Definitely had one bass early on interested. He gave him a little swipe. Didn't grab him, but gave him a little swipe. Let him know, hey, you're in my territory kind of guy. Quiet. a very quiet crankbait. I'm not used to him being so quiet. I'm just gonna bring him in a steady retrieve. And we're gonna let him come up right before the weeds. There we go. One more for you, buddy. And we're gonna run him right along the weed line here. Huh. Well, it seems like we're ending them all this way with a tangle up. All right, so that's the last one for this, guys. And we ended the other one with a weed over. So weed over and a hookup. So this one did attract some attention, but didn't catch any fish. Nice movement, silent, no rattles in this one. Let's move on to the next. Before we start hooking up any kind of plastics and stuff, we're going to go ahead and make our way over to the Reaction Strike 100 MD, XRM 100 MD. It's kind of a Rapala style deep diver. We're using I'm going to try to use a swivel. People have different thoughts on swivels. Do they make a difference on some of your plastic baits? I'm not sure. I usually direct tie, but we'll give this a shot. This is going to be a little bit of a deeper diver, bigger bait. Let's give this guy a shot. A little bit further cast. Oh, he gets real low. This guy is getting real low. Well, I've got sunfish interested in my string, and he's still down. This guy likes the weeds. We definitely got in the weeds with this guy here. Let's get him cleaned off. This one does have rattles, as I suspected. Let's get him cleaned off, and let's get him back out there. Little bit of a deeper diver. You know, he's not a floater. This guy goes right down to action. Not a floating bait like most Rapalas. So he's going down, which is good and bad. And that's the bad. There he comes. Oh, he is a floater, but a slow floating bait. Okay, let's get him back out there. We got a nice 1 pounder just hanging out here. Nice 1 pounder just hanging out. Now I can see him in the water. This guy does some darting. You know, with something that dives so deep here, I'm expecting to lose him. Okay, so we're finishing up with our jerkbait here. Overall, I think they all had nice movement. Wasn't disappointed in any of them, the way they felt, the way they threw, the way they moved and through the water. So now we're down to the chatterbait, and we're down to a jig, and you can kind of see me looking off to the side. We got a little bit of a water flip over there. So I love these guys. This is one of my favorites. So let's go to the next here. I've got fish jumping all over the breaking water, coming out of the water, and here I am tying the next one on. So we're going with the 3/8 ounce blue and black chatterbait. So they give us two things to work with here, and I think I'm going to go ahead with the Z-Man. And this is big. I don't normally run this big, but this is what we're going with. I like to pull my feet apart to make them really splash around. This is a very big plastic. I don't normally run this big a plastic, but this is what they gave us. Ouch, well, they're sharp. They are sharp. Okay, there we are. That is big. That is really big. They might as well have given us a 1/2 ounce, don't you think? This is a big bait for a 3/8 ounce. We got fish jumping, so let's get after where they're jumping out. Holy crap, heavy. Now, who doesn't love chatterbaits? But this is, with the 3/8, I kind of expected this to be a little heavier feel. Well, we got the Sunny's attention, that's for sure. We got the Sunny's attention big time. Chatterbaits are fairly easy. Throw them out, bring them back. The sunfish are certainly interested. Now we can let these settle too to get a little bit lower to the ground. That's what we're going to do on this one, and see if we can get them a little bit lower. I thought this could have been one of the deeper running lures, but actually I would think that he's probably one of my mid-range lures after using that Rapala style. That Rapala style, man, he really made it to the bottom. We're going to let this guy drop a little bit. Go to a slow retrieve. You can work these a couple different ways. You can pop them a little bit if you want. Fast retrieve, slow retrieve. These move some water, and I like those feet. Let's see if we can see the action here. Those feet don't kick the way I was thinking. I thought they were going to give me a little more of a kick. Yeah, I just took a little nip of that rubber off, and maybe that'll make a difference. Okay, let's try them again. And I like chatters. You know, there's a couple different types. Chatterbait, I'm all for them. I'm all for them. I think they're one of the nicer ones. Jackhammers are good too. I've caught fish on either of them. There's a couple of no-name brands starting to come out. I haven't had the success with them. I've tried them out, but I would say that they're probably, the chatterbait has been, out of all of them, probably the biggest producer of fish. What I don't like about chatterbait is their hooks rust up. They're sharp, but you know, every time I go back for them after I fished them a few times, their hooks always seem to be kind of rusty. So they could probably use some better hooks. You know, as these baits are getting more streamlined and they're making their way into some of the big box stores, you know, I know these big box stores will kind of dictate what they want to buy them for, and that sometimes hurts the quality of the baits. And you know, if you're going to throw it a few times and throw it in a box, you're probably not, you know, well, if you're going to just throw it in a box with no silicone gel in there, the likeliness is you're going to get some rust up on it, because we're usually putting them away wet. That's just the way it is. Now, chatterbaits are a bait that I would normally run. I feel like they're all season. You can pretty much run them any time of the season. Any season, I should say. And I've had success with them in all different types of areas. Lakes, rivers, ponds. It's been a successful bait. So I'm very familiar with it. So this is not, I'm not a stranger to these, as probably you aren't either. If you've done some fishing, I'm sure one of these are in your box. But it's always good to have an extra one. So as far as monster bass goes, putting these in the box, I think that's a, hey, we love these. This is not going to be something any of the anglers are going to be like, oh man, really? I think we all like these baits, and we're all pleased to have a second one, because, you know, hey, listen, if we're actually losing baits often. I know I am. You know, I like to put my baits in areas that I think the fish are going to be into. This is pretty much not one of those areas, but you know, as far as, you know, trying to get in where might be tight areas, maybe risky areas as far as losing a lure, it's nice to have that second lure. So thanks, Monster Bass, for putting another chatterbait in my box. Blue and black, can't go wrong with the color. Can't go wrong with that color. So far, the only one I've actually had even a little bit of a touchdown hit was with the crankbait. Surprisingly, it was probably the one that I thought would be least likely to catch a fish, but it was the one that actually had some fish interested. So this is a very nice looking jig. This is the Big Bite Baits Sensation Ram Tail. So this is this is like a chunk style bait. I like this a lot. And you could probably use either one of these on either hook set, to be honest with you. So let's get this guy in the water. And this will conclude our July Monster Bass box. So let's get after this jig. Okay, so there's a couple ways to work the jig. Obviously, to let it fall, jig it up, let the skirt pop out. You could swim them. You know, the jigs are so versatile. I like to get them dragging on the bottom. I like to feel the bottom with the weight, and I like just sliding them along the ground, kind of like a Carolina rig, or if you used a drop shot, same idea. You know, you could get weeded over. You do have the weed guard on there. That should help out with that. I like running them on the bottom nice and slow, letting the fish kind of like inspect it almost and be like, hey, what the hell is that thing? You do run the risk of losing them. You know, when you're coming out of the water, you're going to have a lot of poo-poo on there. I like the head on this thing. It looks like it's going to cut through the weeds nicely. So we're going to get him out there, and we're just going to let him do what he needs to do. We're going to let that line fall way in. And by all means, please, I am not by any means, listen, I don't want to say that I know what to do, really. I mean, I'm learning as I go. So this is just what I do. If it works for you, great. It has worked for me in the past. And this is what I do. If it works for you, then that's awesome. If it doesn't and I suck, I'm sorry. This is the way I fish. And, you know, I've caught some fish. We haven't caught any fish today, so that's been unfortunate. But as I said, I'm just doing the drag, and you can kind of feel things dragging along. We do have some weed factor in here. You can feel it in your rod, what you're coming up against. Sometimes you feel a rock. If you do feel a rock and you feel like you're kind of coming up and over a rock, when you feel the rock kind of go away, that's when you just kind of want that to fall back down, because it could be going over a rock. You want that thing to collapse over the rock. And that sometimes will attract a fish just with that new fall. So I'm slowly dragging this through, and I can swim it too. I mean, I got those ram paddles. They're going to do some swimming. You know, what we're really focusing on are these little kickers. So if you got a little weed factor up here, I don't think it's going to affect it too bad. We certainly don't want it there, but I don't think it's going to end the day. And basically, you can use this as more of a targeting, kind of target where you want to go. You could just swim these guys back. Let those paddles do the work. If you pop it a little bit, your skirt's going to pop open and get some fish's attention. We're going to fish off these rocks here. I like the rocks here. Now, you would think that fish would be scared to death to swim by people, but actually I think they feel safer sometimes. They know those people aren't bothering them. It's the hooks and muskie. The apex predator. I got a nice little 10-inch bass there, a couple little bass just kind of cruising around. So this is our final lure in the July Monster Bass box. It's a jig with ram paddles I like the look of it, I really do. It's been very hot here in New Jersey. The fishing has gotten a little tougher. But you know, when we get these boxes, we're thinking, oh, well, this is what I should be fishing at all depths and my temperatures and my area. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be catching fish. It's what people think, you know, a monster bass is going to catch fish in this area. And this is it for this segment of Monster Bass July Box. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. And, you know, I enjoy opening these boxes and trying this stuff out. Don't always have the success I think I'm, you know, that I like, but, you know, it's worth giving it a shot. It's one of those days where it's hot early. It is early in the morning, but it's just hot. We have plenty of fish looking at us, but no one seems to be really interested in biting. So we tried the July Monster Bass box, and we threw in a Cinco in there just to give it good measure. So we can't give or take anything away from the box right now. Everything casted very nicely. I was very pleased with the box, actually. So as far as the workability of the items that came in the box, it was really great. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. So thanks for watching.